Hey, what's going on, everyone? Greg here, and yes, the new iPad is here as well. This is Apple's 10th generation iPad. It's got a brand new design, looks very similar to the iPad Air, but there's a lot of controversy surrounding this device because, let's face it, this thing made some weird choices with its design because you need something like an adapter like this if you want to use an Apple Pencil, but I'll kind of explain that later in the video. But for now, let's open up the brand new 10th generation iPad because I really want to see this yellow color. I got it in yellow. Let's go ahead and open it up. All right, as you can see, you got your iPad right on the front of the box. It's actually cool because, like I mentioned before, this is the yellow color, so all the branding on here is yellow. You got a yellow Apple logo, you got a yellow iPad, so I actually really like that about this Apple box. Plop this open, and you know, this is pretty much standard fare, right? We've all seen an iPad before, but let's go ahead and see what else is in the box. We got some documentation. Now, did they include yellow Apple stickers? If they included yellow Apple stickers, that is gonna be really cool, right? No yellow Apple stickers, just the standard ones. How unfortunate. Obviously, we have a USB-C power brick. The new iPad is now also USB-C. I was gonna say iPad Pro or iPad Air, but it's just a regular iPad. 20-watt USB-C power brick. And also, this is actually a little bit of a surprise, it does come with a braided USB-C to USB-C cable. The last iPad I unboxed, I believe, did not come with a braided cable. So look at that. You got a nice braided cable that comes with your new 10th generation iPad. Okay, but that's the boring stuff. So we're done with all the accessories in the box, but let's go ahead and take a look at the iPad itself. Woo, look at that yellow color. So let's go ahead and peel this right off. And that is, wow, that is a really bright, vivid yellow color. I am loving this color. Makes me want to use this iPad just because it has a really cool color. As you can see though, there's some strange design decisions as we already unboxed this, right? There is no smart connector on the back of this iPad. It's actually on the side right over here. And that's weird because I thought Apple's new iPad would work with the existing keyboards that came out already for the iPad Air and the iPad Pro, but no, Apple decided to make yet another keyboard, but this one does actually look good. I just wish that the smart connector was still on the back so you had options to use different types of keyboards, but this is Apple's new Magic Keyboard Folio, which I guess we will also unbox along with this iPad. Got your nice little pull tabs over there. Let's go ahead and plop that open real quick. Bring this up. Ooh, this feels weird. This feels kind of heavy. Oh, it's like two parts. Okay. Very interesting. There's some stuff in here. I guess like some documentation. I know how to use a keyboard. I don't need any documentation. That is really strange. Look at that. So you have like the little flap over here where the iPad would connect, but then you have your own separate cover over here. So let's see, let's take the iPad. Okay, so you plop it down like that. It magnetically attaches right on the back. That's simple. So, okay, so if you want it just like a simple case for the iPad where you protect the back, I guess there's really no front protection without the keyboard, but if you just wanted to carry your iPad around like this without the keyboard, you can do that with this case, and that's cool. And then I guess when you have the keyboard, you just plop it down. That snaps into place, and then you just pull out this kickstand. Oh, okay, that's finicky. So that's gonna take some getting used to. So here's a kickstand. Let's see how, oh, you cannot angle that far back. Okay, that's as far back as that kickstand goes. It feels a little finicky for the price right now. I guess I'll have to spend more time with it, but the fact that if you like plop it out too much, this whole thing just comes right off. So you gotta be careful with it. So you go like that, you go like that. You have all the different angles of the iPad on this kickstand. But yeah, it's an interesting keyboard design. It has a full row of function keys, which a lot of people online were very happy with. And you also have the trackpad. This is the first official first-party Apple keyboard with a trackpad that works for their base model iPad. Like Logitech used to make one for it. This is the first time that Apple is actually making their Magic keyboard with a trackpad for the regular iPad. Let me go ahead and set up the iPad, and then I'll come back to you with some of my first initial impressions. Okay, and I am back. I've been using the iPad, playing around with it, and I think I am ready to talk about my initial impressions a little earlier than I usually do, because let's be honest, for the most part, this is a very similar experience to something like an iPad Air. This is, in a way, kind of like a hybrid version between an iPad Air and then the older 9th generation iPad. So listen, if you go into like Geekbench or something like that, you can see the chip. It's an A14 chip, has 4 gigabytes of RAM. The power on this seems to be pretty good though. Like everything I've been doing with it, playing games, just swiping through the interface, everything seems to work pretty fluidly. But I mean, come on, iPads have been pretty fast, pretty responsive, pretty snappy for a long time now. So, you know, it is nice that it does have a faster processor with the A14 chip. It's going to do things, I guess, slightly faster. It's going to export things maybe slightly faster. It's going to work longer on more software updates. But, you know, when it comes to just using it as an iPad, it does get iPadOS 16.1. And yeah, so you can go over and do your standard multitasking like this. But it also, in a way, is strange this year because this iPad, even though it's just came out, it does not support new features like Stage Manager. You need an iPad Pro or the latest iPad Air with an M1 chip in it to support Stage Manager. So if you drop down Control Center, you can see there's no Stage Manager toggle in here. But I think that's fine. I think, at least right now, in Stage Manager's current form, using the iPad as you normally would, with maybe just split screen multitasking, maybe, you know, throwing up like another window in there, that is perfectly fine for how you would use an iPad. And yeah, this works well. This is how most people should use an iPad with Stage Manager. And again, this is the $450, I guess, budget iPad, you can call it. So maybe we shouldn't expect all the new features to work with it. In terms of display quality, that was one of the things I was worried about. This is not a laminated iPad display, so I was really worried picking this up that I would go, okay, there's going to be a huge display difference between this and even something like my iPad Air, not even talking about an iPad Pro. And I gotta be honest, I haven't been doing really like side-by-side comparisons of them. I've just been trying to experience this organically, and the display on this seems fine. Like, I know it's lacking the P3 wide color gamut. I know it has a laminated display, and yes, if I look close and if I angle it, I guess I can see like a slight air gap between where the glass meets and the display meets. But at least in my indoor usage of this device, I think if you use it outdoor, or even now as I look at my studio lights, I guess I can notice maybe a bit more glare than I would on like a normal iPad. But if I'm looking at it directly, I think the screen quality, it looks good. It looks fine for what it is, right? It's a $450 iPad. I don't think anyone's gonna look at this and go, what an ugly display. That's just not the case here. The display, it looks fine. And I guess that's mostly the experience with this iPad as I've been using it so far. Everything seems fine. I guess I should talk about some of the new things though. And I want to start off with something weird, and that would be the Apple Pencil experience. So actually, I wanted to experience this in real time with you. So I decided to wait and, I wanted to open this and see how it works in real time with you. I wanted to give you my raw reaction with it. So let's open up this little adapter here. This is the USB-C to Apple Pencil adapter, because we still have to use this, the old Apple Pencil, the first generation one. This is one of the weird decisions that Apple made, and this still has a lightning connector. So to use this Apple Pencil with this brand new 2022 iPad, you have to buy a $9 adapter, or if you buy a new Apple Pencil, it should come with the adapter in the box now. But I have an old Apple Pencil, so I had to buy this $9 adapter. I don't even know what to expect here. Let's open this up. Let's see. There it is in all its glory. $9 right there. Let's go ahead and there we go. There, it's attached to the first generation Apple Pencil. That's what it looks like. I guess, the smart move now is to take this cap, because listen, if you keep unplugging this, I feel like you're gonna lose it. So I think the smart move is to forget about this little itty bitty cap over here and just leave this connected like this all the time if you're gonna use it with this iPad. Let's go ahead. I think now we need a cable, right? So it's not even just the adapter. There are some strange product choices made here with this iPad. So it's not even like you put on this adapter and then you plug it into the USB-C port at the bottom. This is not this is not the right way to do this, right? This is a female connector. We would need a male connector, you know, if we had this, like a plug like this, if this was USB-C. On the old iPad, you could just plug it right in. This is Lightning though, so I can't do that. So what I have to do now, it gets so strange, right? What I have to do now is I have to go over and get a USB-C cable. I need to plug that in to the iPad, like so. Then I gotta take the Apple Pencil and I gotta plug it in like so. So this was Apple's solution to get an Apple Pencil working on this iPad. Is there a better solution? I think maybe a second generation Apple Pencil that magnetically charged the top like it does on the other iPads would have been the better solution. They did move the camera to landscape, which I'll talk about in a second. Maybe that's why they couldn't do it, but hey, you know, I feel like this top section over here, I don't know, maybe there's room to fit it. Maybe you put it on the bottom instead of putting the smart connector on the bottom, right? Like the iPad has, you know, you could have done it like this, put the camera here, put the pencil here, right? There's two sides to an iPad. You could have put it on the other side, but instead you put a smart connector here. I just wish that Apple did that because I don't think this is the best solution. And I know you could even look at the bright side of this and go, well, okay, at least this is connected to the iPad. And you know what? If you need it to charge it, right? Look at the Apple Pencil battery. It's at 13%. I need it to charge the Apple Pencil. I still want to draw. I still want to write something. You can't even use it when it's charging. And look, you go into notes, you write, you can't even use it. So maybe something you could have put as a positive, like, oh, at least you can charge it and use it at the same time. You can't even do that. Once it's charging, it does not register touches on the iPad. Look, as soon as I take this off, it's gonna take a little bit, but look, now I can start drawing. And look at this, this is me. So yeah, you can use the Apple Pencil, but again, it's a weird decision that Apple made, and I think they should be called out on it. Now, I don't want to take away from the rest of the product here, because even though that decision is really baffling to me, I also can't be mad at a lot of the other decisions that Apple made here. So maybe if you need second generation Apple Pencil support, you should consider the iPad Air. Like if you're an Apple Pencil user, I don't think this is the product for you. I think the iPad Air, even though it's a lot more money, like I think it's worth stepping up to, or stepping up to like an iPad Pro. But if you just want like a basic iPad, this does make some good decisions. Again, it's very similar to the iPad Air. It has Touch ID in the power button. So if you go over here, look at that, it opens up, it has Touch ID. It's very smooth, like I said before. The screen, it was a concern for me, but it turns out not to be a major concern. And this product also makes a lot of good choices too. So it has the camera in the landscape orientation. It is the only iPad to have the camera in the landscape orientation. And that is so important because I feel like most people are now using their iPad as landscape devices, right? Look at this. Like when you're using split screen, you probably want to use it in landscape. If you turn it over into portrait mode, this becomes a pretty awkward experience. You don't really want to multitask in portrait mode. You really only want to use portrait mode for single apps. But again, more and more people are using the iPad as a multitasking device. So putting it like this makes a lot more sense. Honestly, because the iPad's more basic, maybe you will use it more in portrait orientation. But for something like an iPad Pro, I feel like that's where you really want the landscape camera. And especially, again, if you're using this with like a keyboard attachment, like we have right here with this new keyboard Folio, that is where you specifically want that camera dead center. I'm gonna record a video right on this iPad, and let's just say we had the old style of the iPad, right? The camera right now is on the center, but if it was the old style, it would be right over here in this corner in portrait. And if I was talking to you and I was looking into the camera trying to be courteous and make eye contact, I would be looking right into here and it would just look weird, right? I wouldn't actually be looking at you. I'd be looking off to the side. It's a very unnatural experience. But look, now it's dead in the center. I'm using it on the keyboard. I can adjust it. I get a better view. I get a more flattering view too because it's not off to the side. I don't know if you can make me flattering, but this is a more flattering view. And I can actually look directly right where the camera should be and where you expect it to be on most laptops. So this, I think, at least in the camera department, this landscape camera being right here is a better experience. So if you're not an Apple Pencil user, and I'm guessing there's a lot of people who use an iPad who don't use an Apple Pencil. If you're not handwriting notes, if you're not drawing, then you don't care about the sacrifices that the first generation Apple Pencil made. If you don't care about the Apple Pencil, well, then I think this is actually, so far at least to me, a good iPad. Whether you want to use that in just regular tablet mode, where it probably excels the most, or if you actually want to get yourself that keyboard accessory and use it as kind of a tablet laptop hybrid. And when you put both of those together, $700 for that experience, yeah, I think it is worth it. I think that is worth it. So anyway, these are my first impressions of the new 10th generation iPad. Please let me know what you thought of this iPad in the comments below. Do you agree with me that after all the controversy, after all the weird product decisions, that deep down at its core, for $450, it's still worth it? Or do you disagree with me and think I'm crazy? If you like this video, make sure you give me a like. If you want to see more, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Again, I'm going to do a full review on this. Maybe my opinions of this will change as I use it more in depth. But anyway, that's it for the video. Thanks again for watching. And hey, I'll see you in the next one. Take care, everyone.